This is your very first DJ transition. You're new to DJing. Welcome to this very expensive hobby, but very rewarding at the same time. Back in the day, the most important skill to learn was the skill of beat matching. That's not necessarily the most important thing in this modern era. There's so many more controls and buttons on your equipment now, as opposed to back in the day when it was just literally a tempo slider and a cue and a play button and just the ability to speed up and slow down the record. But that was pretty much it. Yeah, so just the skill of beat matching. So that was back in the day, but now we have so many more buttons on this equipment, and depending on what you've got your hands on, or if you haven't even got your equipment yet, check out my beginner DJ video to get your hands on the equipment that I would recommend if you're just starting out on your DJ journey. So how to do your first DJ transition? Firstly, you need to pick your songs, and the two main ingredients in picking your songs, so pick two tunes. We're not going to do 3-deck mixing because that's obviously advanced. Two tunes that are of a similar BPM and a similar key. Now, if you're not sure on how to mix in keys and relevant keys, which is what I go into in my course, then just for the moment, pick two tunes that are in the same key. So for example, F minor, it'll say FM in your software, and FM is the same key. So if you can pick two tunes that are in the same key, then you know that you're mixing in key. Beats per minute is the speed of the track. So if you're doing the genre that I do, which is drum and bass, typically it's around 174 beats per minute. And actually that's one of the main stylistic characteristics of a genre, is the speed at which it's been produced at. So house music, for example, you've got lots of different subgenres of house, and actually one of the main key characteristics of those genres or those subgenres is the beats per minute. For example, deep house is typically produced slightly slower than tech house. And so if you know which specific genre you're working in, you're probably going to be working with tunes that are around a similar BPM. Pick your subgenre or genre and pick two tunes for the moment that you can see are in the same key. That way they're going to match harmonically and stylistically. Next, you would need to set your cue points, and there's two different types of cue points. There's memory cues and hot cues. So memory cues are where you can skip back and forth to a specific point on the track on a timeline that you've marked. And hot cues, if you hit them, they will play the track from the moment that you hit the hot cue. And you can set them in your software, which is what I would recommend you do before you start with your performance, because when you come to loading the tracks on your decks, you need to have time economy, and setting your different cue points and hot cues whilst you're performing live is just another laborious task that you need to do, when really what you want to be focusing on is mixing the two tunes together and any work on the mixer panel. But I haven't done that on this tune, so let's do the example live in real time, but obviously without the tune playing out. The best way to skip forward would be using beat jump. If you skip forward and then you hit cue, you now have a set cue point on this track. If you press hot cue A, it will now insert a hot cue, and then if you tap hot cue A, it will play the track. Obviously the channel fader's not up, there's no volume, so I can just talk to you over it. But now you've set hot cue A, and as soon as you press A, it will play from that particular point. Now, if you want to set a memory cue, so let's go forward again, and then you press Q on the Q button, and then you press memory, it now inserts a memory cue point. And if you skip back and forth using the cue loop call buttons, it skips back and forth between the two memory cues, and there's one at the beginning of the track, but it doesn't play the track from that cue point. And you can hit play when you're ready to go. So now we've set our cue points, let's go on to step 3. If you'd like a deeper understanding of what I'm going into right now, then check out my courses linked below. Not only do I go through all of this in a step-by-step bite-sized module breakdown, but also I explain why we're doing it. Check out my courses, they are linked below. My website's down there. You can get the free mailing list. There's lots of stuff for you to check out, including my socials, and I would love to see you on the course. Step 3 is beat matching, and that was the fundamental skill required to be a DJ back in the day, but obviously you can see now there's a lot more buttons here than a vinyl turntable and a 2-channel mixer. And so yes, beat matching is still required, but it's not actually an essential skill to learn. However, I fully recommend that you do learn and do practice beat matching because you never know when you're going to need it. These days, you can just hit the beat sync button and the two tracks will mix together. Now, beat sync is beat matching. So what do we mean by beat matching? Beat matching is when the beats or the drums of one track line up in sync with the drums and the beats of another track. You would have to have them at the same BPM in order to do this. The quickest way to do that is to hit the beat sync button, and as this is your first DJ transition, hit beat sync, but please learn the skill of beat matching because you will need to access that skill at some point. And before we get into the mix itself and the demonstration, EQ mixing is really important. EQing is balancing the volumes, and crucially, the low frequency volume, it needs to be turned down on one of your tracks, and you also need to balance the mids and the lows, usually turning to the left, so you're turning one of your tracks down so that it's not overpowering the other track. And I do go into why this is really important in my courses, but for the moment we're just doing a this is how you do this video. So you bring in your other track with a picture like this, and then you mix your two tunes together, and then you rebalance them so that they go the other way, and then you cross over your lows. So let's do the demo. We've picked our two songs, we've set our cue points, we've got our tempos to match because we've hit beat sync, and now the two tracks match in tempo, and we're going to balance our volumes by using our EQs so that we get a nice sandwiching together of audio and not overpowering the listener. So one track's going to play out, and you're going to hit play on your incoming track. Make sure in your headphones that you can hear that they are in time with each other, and then you change the image on here and you bring in your track. Oh, and in order to hear that in your headphones, you need to press the cue button. I'm going to use the master cue instead of listening to speakers. So if you're doing everything in your headphones, press the master cue and the channel cue. But if you can hear the speakers at the same time, then listen in your headphones and to the speakers to see if things are in time. Number 5 is to transition smoothly, and you'll see in that example there I was waiting for the right moment to bring this track in, bringing it in smoothly and switching over smoothly and doing everything seamlessly. Again, I go into all of this in my courses. I'm not ramming courses down you. It's just, I think it's really, really important that you learn this in a comprehensive manner, and if it wasn't for me taking courses, there's no way I would be the person that I am now. So I'm hugely passionate about it, and I want people to learn this and learn it really well. You know, if you like my teaching style and you'd like to learn this stuff comprehensively and quickly, then definitely check them out. Depending on the genre and the style of music that you're mixing will in essence dictate how you use these dials and how aggressively or smoothly you move on the mixer panel. So as you've gradually brought one track in, gradually bring another track out, and that will be your transition. Finally, for that extra pro touch, add effects to your mix. So effects, there's two different types. We have the color effects and the beat effects. Reverb or space is a nice effect to take a track out of the mix. So let's incorporate what we've learned so far by adding space to take our outgoing track out of the picture. And if you listen to how space is just by itself, so that's a really nice effect ringing out on the top of now your incoming tune. Get a feel for how different tracks are when you're doing those steps, and repeat those steps over and over and over again with different songs. There's other videos on my channel to help you kickstart your DJ journey, and if you would like to learn from me and access my over 20 years experience, you know what to do. Everything is below. I also have a free mailing list and a Discord which you can join. And finally, please subscribe to the channel if you like it. You know, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and drop a comment below to let me know what you thought to the video, if you liked it, if you disliked it, if you got something out of it, or if you have any questions as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you for another video. Bye!